Hello, audiophiles of the internet, and welcome back to Audio 46, your headphone destination. My name is Franco, and today we will be dealing with one of the premier brands in all of audiophile headphonedom. In this video, we will be talking about French company Focal, specifically their closed-back over-ear headphones. Now, why focus on these specifically, you may ask? Well, for those who can remember, there was a point in time where the idea of a closed-back Focal over-ear headphone seemed almost anathema, as all of their flagship models were open-back. And it's pretty easy to see why. This offers the most luxurious, spacious, expansive listening experience, which makes sense for this brand. However, times change, and a couple years back, Focal did start offering options for closed-back headphones, and they have undergone some evolutions as the years go by. Today, we are going to look at 3 options and break down any confusion to see which one may be right for you. So, let's talk headphones. The first headphone we're going to talk about here is also the first closed-back model that Focal offered all the way back in 2018, which seems like decades ago. This is the Focal Elysia. Like all of their products, the Focal Elysia was conceptualized, designed, and manufactured in France, and their design is nothing short of fantastic. This begins here with the very chic-looking gray, thermoformed zipper carrying case, which is modeled to a shape that is fairly compact and keeps your headphones safe for casual transportation. I wouldn't trust it being flung around in the trunk of your car with reckless abandon, but the neat little carrying handle on the top assures this is a great vessel for taking your cans on the move. The case unzips to open up here and reveals some very simple packaging upon delivery, including just your headphones, your cable, and a 1/4-inch attachable adapter that is stuck into the top. The cable here is 1.2 meters. I've heard some people say this is too short. Others say it's good because it doesn't get you tangled up. I personally find it to be kind of perfect in terms of length. It has 3.5 millimeter connections all the way around, 2 of which go into your ear cups, and 1 is on the other end as your main connection. It's also covered in some zebra pattern cloth that, while it looks nice, makes the cable a little rigid and kind of thick, so it's definitely more heavy duty than most. The headphones are obviously the main event here, and they look extremely sharp with black and silver aluminum accents throughout. The headband is thick and sturdy, but also comfortable with some soft perforated microfiber on the underside. The aluminum yoke has a good shine and extends easily. The ear pads are also microfiber here for a fit that's really soft, and on the inside you can see the drivers. These are M-shaped and lodged at a more natural angle to provide for a really wide and dynamic stage, even though the backs are closed here. You can also see this great design on the ear cups that does mimic and resemble a lot of the other Focal headphones. In terms of a sonic profile here, the soundstage is obviously going to have a hard time measuring up to Focal's open-back models, as there is just a natural ceiling when it comes to the amount of space you can get with the closed back. However, even if the stage is not super wide and expansive, it does have a nice light, airy quality that is a pretty impressive accomplishment for this closed-back headphone. Instruments and vocals have a good sense of outward expansion, and there is a real verticality and depth as well. This is one of the more robust stages you are going to find in a closed-back headphone, which should be no surprise coming from a brand like Focal. Low end has a deep, energetic presence with a good amount of detail, but also clear, hard lines to prevent from any blurring. Mid-range in the Elysia tilts a bit forward here, with very high fidelity and no compression or distortion to be found. Highs are also very detailed, but a little rolled off here to create a warmer sound that is a little smoother in texture and very pleasant to listen to. Now, if these look and sound appealing to you, or if you had your eyes on them for a while but were never able to pull the trigger, this may be the best time to start looking into them, as these were already one of Focal's more budget-friendly options, and right now the price is getting lower and lower, due in part to the fact that they will soon be effectively replaced by the next model we're talking about. This is the Focal Radiance. This offering is going to be a jump up in terms of price bracket, obviously because these are a new model, and the big concept here is that these are a crossover between Bentley and Focal, 2 luxury brands that are at the top of their industry. You can see this immediately when it comes to the design and the aesthetics. As for the packaging and the look, the style is incredibly similar to that of the Elysia. The shape and material of the carry case is the same here, but the color scheme has been altered. What was once gray is now a shimmery copper color, and the handle on the top has been adorned with the Bentley logo to reflect the brand collaboration. It's packaged the same way with your headphones inside, accompanied only by your cable. The cable here is just straight black, a little more compact, a little less rigid, and it no longer has the fabric covering. As far as the look of the cans, the Radiance looks extremely similar to the Elysia, but the color scheme is black and that same very shiny copper, which I think really outclasses its predecessor here just in terms of the look. It's a slick and gorgeous design that really makes these stand out. The perforated feature of the Elysia has been replaced with the Bentley diamond patterning here, as well as under the headband, which has these crisscrosses instead of the holes of the Elysia. The headband and ear cups are now covered in full grain leather instead of microfiber. This combined with a more relaxed clamp force makes these a little more comfortable in my opinion. The Bentley logo can also be seen here, and it's just a really gorgeous design overall. The driver used here is the same M-shaped full-range 40mm size that was used in the Elysia, and both are made from an alloy of aluminum and magnesium. Both the Elysia and the Radiance also have the same exact frequency range here of 5 Hz to 20 kHz, as well as an output impedance of 35 ohms to make them relatively easy to drive regardless of your source. You can drive them without an amp, obviously, but if you're going to shell out the cash to get a model as sophisticated as this, you probably do want to pair it with an amp to get its full power. In terms of soundstage here, the Radiance is unsurprisingly very similar to that of the Elysia, but the Radiance has the slight edge here as the image seems to reach out a bit wider while still maintaining the same great amount of verticality and depth. The closed back here does not get in the way of very precise layering and imaging, and the Radiance just has a bit more top end extension to really open up that headroom and give you more of an immersive feel. As for the actual quality of the sound, the tuning and the profile here have been slightly adjusted from the Elysia. Both models are pretty balanced in the bass department, but I found the Radiance to be even more so, with a subtlety that has good texture but is focused on a very natural characteristic, which may feel a bit too reined in for some, especially if you are more low-end inclined. Mids are supported here with a lot of detail and clarity, and they lean somewhat forward even more so in the Radiance than in the Elysia. This succeeds in highlighting more color and gives some elements a bit of a pop and a shine. The Elysia may deliver a bit more weight in these frequency bands, but the Radiance succeeds more in definition. On the top end, the Radiance definitely brings more to the table than its predecessor. Both have a bit of a roll-off here, but as I said prior, the Radiance has a lot more extension and provides some shimmer and sparkle here that was lacking in the Elysia. That being said, both are extremely similar, with the main differences being that the Elysia is a bit more laid back, while the Radiance has a signature that is a bit more prominently smiley-faced, with some punch on the low and high end of the frequency spectrum. The final offering we're going to get into here is also the most expensive one, and this is the Focal Stelia. These came out a little over a year ago, so generationally they are in between the Elysia and the Radiance just in terms of chronology. I am discussing them last here because, as I said, they are not cheap, coming in at around $3,000, so it is not a casual purchase and will not be for everyone. The look here is extremely unique, even among Focal units which all tend to kind of channel the same aesthetic. The first thing you notice is the color, which departs from the blacks and silvers for a very fine mocha and cognac finish. The ear cup is made of a stainless steel grill over full grain leather. The ear pads are made of the same leather here and really soft and plush for a fit that is extremely comfortable. These have the same output impedance as the other headphones at 35 ohms, but a much more revealing frequency range at 5 Hz to 40 kHz, which will allow for much more detail retrieval. Now, one of the big distinguishing factors here is the driver, which is the same M shape, but the material of the driver here is a pure beryllium. The advantages of this are many, offering a super high rigidity so that there is no distortion even at loud volumes, very good dampening so there is no ringing or unwanted resonance when producing tricky frequencies, and finally, it's just a much lighter material. This means that the diaphragm here has significantly less mass than the Elysia or the Radiance. Getting into the soundstage here, you'll probably notice a theme, which is that because they're closed backs, because they're focals, they are actually all pretty similar here. This has what I would say is pretty close to exactly the same stereo width and reach as the Radiance, and still that same amount of depth and verticality that has been a common factor in all three. The stage maybe feels just a bit larger here due to that extended frequency range and the more revealing details, but I would say overall it's very similar, so this is not a huge distinguishing factor with this model over the others. However, it is a bit of a different story when it comes to the sound quality and the profile here. The low end here is easily the most impressive of the three. The high amount of detail retrieval combines with a great level of control to provide a bass tone that is powerful, but very smooth and very clean. Mids, once again, have that forward tilt that brings out a lot of color and texture, but it feels the most natural here. Low mids and high mids are balanced in a way that provides richness, which really makes elements like lead vocals pop in a nice, satisfying way. The high frequencies also retain a more laid-back quality here like they do in the other two headphones, but in the Stylia, these feel a bit smoother as opposed to recessed or lacking like they might tend to in the other headphones. In elements like pop and hip-hop, where lows and highs will be more naturally separated, this will provide a really enveloping and pleasant listening experience. If you're in the market for a high-quality, closed-back over-ear headphone, then you absolutely cannot go wrong with one of these options from Focal. With a range of prices and different designs, all featuring Focal's quality sound, there's certainly a lot to recommend from each of these models. If you want a high-quality purchase that's delivering a bargain deal, then you cannot go wrong with the Elysia, which very well may be off the market soon. If you want the latest from Focal, but something that is also still in kind of a median price range, then you may want to look at the Radiance. And finally, if you want to upgrade to true luxury in both aesthetics and sound, then the Stylia might be the model for you. And there you have it, guys. That was my brief overview on all of these units from Focal. There's obviously a lot more to be said about each of them, but I hope this primer was helpful, especially if you're in the market for a new closed-back headphone. If any of you guys out there have one or multiple of these units, I would love to know what you think and hear your comparisons between them. Let me know in the comments below, as always, so that we can start a great discussion. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss another video from our channel. And if you learned something from this or just happen to like this kind of content, then feel free to visit our website at audio46.com to check out our blogs and other reviews. And as always, the best way to compare different headphones is, of course, to listen to them yourself. So if you happen to find yourself in New York City, then feel free to drop into our brick and mortar store on 46th Street so that you can do just that. All right, guys, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. My name is Franco, once again with Audio 46, your headphone destination, and I will see you all very soon.